everybody who got far used the messer, so a shorter edge.
But up to the 5 points, surprisingly okay.
It will be Polish.
Not anymore. Not this one.
We are on the Black Horns Cup, so let's go in and see how the cutting goes. I didn't know much about the cutting nominations, but as I see, they actually started with, is it saber or messer? And they are cutting just carton tubes. So it is actually the weapon of choice. You can cut with what you want.
So we're currently waiting for our turn on the cutting competition. It's 3 of us, me, Pavel and Sasha, and we're going to cut 3 targets while running, and then we're going to thrust into the last target to see how fast and accurate we are with the sharps. In the elimination round, you get 2 tries, and the best or the fastest run is counted, right? So you run as fast as you can, cutting each of the target and thrusting the last one. If you cut unsuccessfully, you have 3 seconds added to your time.
So it's actually our first time participating in the cutting nomination. And we are usually training with the Longsword. It's a choice for Pavel, as I see. From the mechanics of the cutting, it should be easier done with a one-handed weapon. Just because there is less error to introduce. There is also another sport, throwing those things. Well, first of all, congratulations on your prize here. I saw that the last rounds were very close.
Yeah.
It was a bit, I think, a game of chance.
Yeah.
Like who got first to the target, who ran first. It was actually my first experience watching the tournament where they had like a selection of weapons for cutting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about how different weapons compare when cutting?
Well, there's certainly differences. Like if you have a long sword, well, it's longer, you have a longer reach. And in this kind of tournament where you need to be quick and move around quickly, the reach can give you an advantage. But then also because the edge is longer, it's going to have more vibration, so cutting is actually going to be more difficult. If you have a shorter edge, you can have a thicker edge, and it's going to be easier to just cut through something. But then again, you have less reach. So in this kind of tournaments, it can be a matter of strategy, but as basically everybody who got far used the messer, so a shorter edge, there's certainly a most effective tactic that you can use, at least in this kind of tournaments.
Recently I had a cutting seminar with
Yep.
Etu, and I realized that for me it would be harder to cut with a two-handed weapon than with a one-handed weapon.
Yeah, it's the same, I think so, because like with the longsword, like you have 2 hands, so you have more factors, more changes, and both of them need to go in the same direction. If your hands go in different directions, then the edge alignment is going to change. With one hand, you have a long arm that you can just swing at the target.
Those tubes that are used here, what materials are usually used for training and for tournaments?
Usually for training, you just use air, because cutting anything you need to use lots of material, so it can use a lot of money. So you use air for actual training to kind of listen to the sound of the edge. For test cutting, seeing how well you can actually cut something, tatami is usually used. So it's soaked up, and then you can cut it on like a lapel like those, or a stand. And that shows you if you can actually cut, and if there's any changes within the actual cut, if the angle changes inside the target, it also shows you that. With the tubes, I haven't really used tubes, so this is the only place I've cut tubes. But it does show you, do you cut or do you not cut? It might not tell you how well that easily, but it does show do you have edge alignment and do you have proper arc or other such factors.
Hong Kongu, Kanady, Niemiec, Ukrainy, Węgier, Wielkiej Brytanii, Włoch.
I know that there is no international airport close by.
Yeah.
Like, how was your trip here?
Oh, we flew to Wrocław and then we rented a car there for 6 people from our group. We flew here already on Thursday. We stayed at a hotel and last night we stayed at the lodging. Like separate houses and we stayed there and all the 6 of us.
My next question is about the fights. What do you think about like fighting up to 5 points?
Well, it's definitely different, and also I think the entire setup affects to it. As the fights just were, it took me a time to adjust to how to actually do this, because the game itself, fencing itself, is different. It's very like a point in line, and also I think the quality requirement, it always varies a bit depending on the referees and judges, and also whether it's open or women's or work. But I think it varied a little bit more than usual depending on the judges. But this is something like I'm not sure about. But up to the 5 points, surprisingly like okay, because the entire like rule set was so different. So right at this moment, I'm just like adjusting to it still and thinking about it. And also the rule set really emphasizes only clean exchanges, which I can respect. But yet at the same time, as the quality requirement varies, you may have a really good trust and the other person is like trust misses, or there is like a miss and then something, and that qualifies as a double. That's like, I think that was the most difficult part for me. But then again, I can respect that. I can respect like wanting just only clean exchanges. I think one of the most enjoyable match for me was, however, like not point in line, just one tag and boom, 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 parry riposte. That felt like yes, this is what I want to do. And the rest of it was like, okay, I need to concentrate.
When coming here, I was actually like warned of the potential excessive violence, because as I heard, the hits with the hand to the head, not prohibited. You participated also in the open.
Yeah.
Did you encounter any such actions?
Well, that's an interesting point, because absolutely not. Now that you say that you were warned about excessive force, I'm like, what? Although they are very strict about the swords and the bending. And I guess that's because if people have like run into them and there's injuries happening. But I don't think there was nothing even like that. I could have used my like regular sword easily and it would have been perfectly safe. Actually, I've been participating in 3 different open tournaments in past 2 weekends and this weekend.
Whoa.
And this was the like lightest in that sense, clearly. Although the challenge was that the women's elimination and open was at the same time. That was a bit difficult, but yes.
So after a day of fencing, we are leaving for Prague. But while we are still here in Poznan, we still have time to have some pierogi. I've heard a lot, but I never tried, so let's see how it goes. I'm very grateful for the organizers because the level of the tournament organization was really high. I was really happy to see some familiar faces and to meet new people. Every time I go in a tournament, it gives me motivation to continue doing what I do in HEMA, because the people I want to continue meeting and the people I want to best but the most important thing is that by trying to best them, I'm first of all becoming better myself. I send my best, and I hope they win to our great friends, guys from Finland. I hope Nina wins the women nomination. I hope to see her on other tournaments and fight her. As well, my best wishes go to her clubmates. We will see who really wins. Like, I will put on the footage of the actual fights and the actual winners. But anyways, it was an interesting experience, I'm sure, for everyone participating.
Fencers are great, pierogi is even better, Poland is strong.
I was able to experience new fencing cultures, and it was very enriching.
Objectively, this is a big and greatly organized event. I'm pretty impressed with consistency of judging. However, subjectively, our martial values are not corresponding well with this event, which is quality of strike, of course, and the stuck to the rule set that can produce some kind of meta that is not corresponding well and related well with historical sources.
We can all come together, see different approaches, participate in the tournaments organized with different mindset, with different rule set, and still enjoy it. By the way, I personally invite you to visit Prague this September. We will have a tournament called BOHEMA. It will be a tournament by Nordic rules, let's say, with afterblow. We will have many participants from the north, and for anyone all around the world, we will be happy to see you. So I was happy to see you and fight you next time.